We are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. We'll open this meeting, Jefferson County Board of Supervisors for April 14th, 2025. And we entertain the motion to see how many minutes we got here. To approve the minutes of April 7th, April 11th, and April 8th. Yes.
What do you think? What department? It's 15.
That's just a yearly.
And I just want to see who was for.
You guys?
To us?
Yeah, we budget that every year.
I thought that was a bill from them.
No,
So
no, no.
pay-
Well, technically it
So
is.
why would we?
It's our allocation.
So moved, Lee.
Thank you. Second,
Second.
any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Well, good morning, now.
Morning.
What's up?
Last week, Melissa had posted the ICEOO, the office organization. District 5, they had 20 attendees over there.
Oh.
So it's a partial day. I think they started at 9 or so, and then they were done in the afternoon by 2:30. But they kind of get together and go over, kind of have a roundtable talk on things that different counties are doing throughout District 5, and then they eat lunch and go do an activity in the afternoon. I think they went to the Carnegie Museum.
Oh.
So they had whoever's in charge over there gave them a tour of that place.
Thomas, do I understand that she's the secretary of this?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because she had just went up to Indianola a few weeks ago for that. As far as the road crews going, they've been they started replacing pipes. We've had some big pipes down on 220th. They're east of I want to say it's east of Pine. On Dirt Road, that they got some bigger pipe they've been starting to replace this week and last week. Been continuing hauling rock for contract. I think they're just a little over halfway through the second district. They're in District 4 right now. They're going to be moving to District 6, which is Trent, around Libertyville here after this week. Then tomorrow we have the pre-construction meeting for the chip seal project. Chip seal, and we're actually adding some patching on that into Batavia. Ash Avenue coming up to Old 34 there. It's really starting to deteriorate. So we're going to be patching in there and doing, I think we're going to be adding chip seal to H43, which is the road that goes west out of Libertyville to Ash, South Batavia. So hopefully figure out when they're going to be starting. I'm gonna guess they're going to be starting here before too long, but don't know for sure.
Is that the same company that's going to do hopefully for you to Lockridge?
Yeah, this same project. Yep. Yeah. So LL Pelling has they're the prime contractors on that, and then Norris is doing the patching, and they're the ones going to be doing the stone interlayer because they're set up a little bit better for that,
Right.
trucks and stuff. So
And that starts next month, May?
May 15th is the late start date, but I would guess they would start before that. I'm hoping that they start before that. Then out on the bridge, last week we set all 15 of the beams from the abutments to piers and pier to pier. So if you're ever out there, it actually looks like something now. There's all of it's connected, but that one really smooth. They picked them up, sent them right in place, and everything went really well. So the hold up now is they have a surveyor come in and they check elevations for those beams. And then based on those elevations, whether they need to adjust the deck height up or down or whatever they need to do there, so. They should be getting going on that, on putting decking on there this week, so.
I'm sorry, Colin, I just completely. Question, but can I ask you went out the back door? Maybe it's back out.
Did you acknowledge him?
Yeah. Oh, I do remember. Well, last week, and he may not, Wayne may not have had an opportunity to talk to you about it or whomever. But we were discussing the fact that we were using less and less tank cars and stuff because we pretty much covered all of our bases on that and brought up something about his, and this is not the words he used, but I'm gonna call it like a pile driver type thing. And so the board asked for a cost benefit analysis because he felt like that if we had that piece of equipment, we could do a lot more work in-house. So I just wanted to follow up on that, of course, like I say, an unforeseen circumstance for him, but
Yeah,
we are interested in seeing what that.
okay, yeah, and I haven't seen anything for that, so.
Probably hadn't had a chance to even investigate.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Anything for else for Thomas? Ambulance director.
You're
Good
all
morning.
busy today, Thomas.
All right, I don't really have a lot to go over. Oh, I guess I do. So we're losing Mike Long. He put in his resignation. He is moving to either North Carolina or Florida at some point, so I'm kind of jealous, but so he'll
They
be.
started with a different letter.
Yeah, yeah. So he'll be vacating that position, so that'll leave 2 full-time positions open. And right now I've got some people that are wanting to kind of move their shifts around a little bit, but so I think we'll probably post go back to EMS or the IAMSA website and then Indeed again and post for those.
So how soon is he leaving?
Middle, what did he say? I don't remember. I don't remember when his last, I can tell you when his last shift is. It's coming up though. Maybe sooner than I thought. Maybe next week. Yeah, the 22nd, 23rd. Yeah, I think the 22nd is his last shift.
Do they have to give you 2 weeks notice?
Yeah, and he did. He started in last week. So yeah, there's that. Otherwise, I am meeting with Washington County today. We're going up there. Myself and the other 2 that are doing billing, we're gonna go up to Washington County and meet with them as soon as we leave here. To kind of start getting that ball rolling, figure out what they've been doing and how their transition went, because they were, I don't know what service they were using before, but they switched to in-house billing a little while ago, and they seem to be doing a lot better reimbursement than we are, so that's cool. Other than that, on the training program, we had our first advisory meeting on Thursday. That went well. We had pretty good participation. I'm going to put the minutes out for that. Hopefully later today, I'll get that working. But yeah, it was a pretty good turnout. I think people are pretty excited about that training program and what we're able to do, or hopefully what we'll be able to do as soon as the state gets their side of it together, so. Yeah. Questions for me? That's all I've got.
In regards to the advisory meeting, I'd like to put on the agenda for next week. To discuss, and consider a member of the board of supervisors. Appointment to that advisory academy board, whatever you would call it.
Okay.
Would have to be an ex officio, as you and I talked about,
Yes.
because there might be something comes before the board that we may have to vote on, so whoever is on that would participate, but wouldn't necessarily have.
Right.
a vote.
Yep.
And tell us again, I know you got Jefferson County Health Center and Washington County Ambulance and Matoma Regional, and who all you got hooked up for?
For clinicals, yeah, so far, Ottumwa Regional, to include their ambulance service, Jefferson County, Washington County Ambulance. We're still working with the hospital to try to figure out what we can do there. I have a pediatric clinic in Ottumwa. Knoxville Fire Department, which I know is, a ways out, but they worked really well with me when I was at the college. So I think that's who we have locked in right now. And I think I said this in the meeting too, like, once we get established, I think it'll be a little bit easier to get more clinical contracts. I mean, right now people are just like, yeah, we'll see how it goes, because that, everything's up in the air, but I think it'll come pretty easily once we're actually established. So right now, we just kind of started local. Ottumwa Fire Department too has mentioned that they would be a clinical site for us for ride time. So yeah.
So now those fire departments, do they do what part of the clinicals would they be involved in?
So they would be ride time. So you do clinical time in the hospital and like emergency rooms and ICU and those kind of things, and then you do ambulance time or pre-hospital time.
Right.
Ottumwa Fire is kind of similar to how we run here at Fairfield, but it's a full crew. So they run a basic life support, non-transport.
Okay,
So they're kind of first responders, but they're a little bit higher. They can do some things, nothing invasive, but they operate at the EMT level and they don't transport. So it's a little bit different aspect on EMS by going through or by utilizing them as well. So.
any other questions or any questions or other for Josh?
Sounds like things are coming right along for you.
Just waiting on the
Appreciate
state.
One
Just
step at
waiting
a
on the
time.
state.
Yeah, it appeared you had, what, 14, 15 folks that wanted to sign up right away, which was more than what you.
Oh, yeah, Washington County, Jordan said he had 7 or 8. Like, I've got a list already of 7 or 6. Yeah, so I think that paramedic class, that first one's gonna be quite a doozy.
Are you going to have a limit on the participants? Students, whatever?
Ideally, my plan was like 10 to start, but I mean, if we have a lot of interest, I mean, 15, or I don't want to go much beyond 15, but most of the work's already, like, it's going to be done ahead of time, so it's not like I don't know. I could probably handle 15 or 20.
So Josh, when do you think the first class will start?
That is entirely up to the state.
Oh, that's right, there's some.
Yeah. So
I just wonder, so how long, when will you offer the second class? In other words,
So we'll start a paramedic class once a year.
Okay, that's what.
Like that's, I'm not gonna do more than that, because the way it's built is that the students, like, it's, I mean, it's basically a sprint, you know, we say go, and everybody goes at their own pace. They might get done earlier than others, but they have a cap at 1 year. Unless there's extenuating circumstances, but, so I'll start a class once a year. But right now, we're waiting on the state to give us approval to be a training program. And then once that happens, I have to go through the accreditation process, which is a lot of the same information. And I've been talking to, I don't know what his title is there, but one of the guys there at accreditation, that he said if all our ducks in a row, he's seen accreditation go, or not accreditation, it's letter of review, which is kind of a temporary accreditation status. He's seen that go through in like a week in some cases. And he's from Iowa, so he's got a little soft spot for us.
Good. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, moving on.
Thank you
Thank
guys,
you,
appreciate you.
Josh.
Discuss and consider property at 3029 136th Street. Well, I guess I had the right address, but. I know you wanted to review that.
Yeah, I looked at the packet the other day and it's a pretty full packet. There's been a lot of stuff going back and forth.
I was particularly piqued by the letter that was sent by Kent stating that I will be happy to come out and go through everything with you. You like a day and time, never happened. But it wasn't for a lack of offer, put it that way.
Right.
So, and I personally am not inclined to, the gentleman has been paying right along, which is a good thing. And, you know, I can't disagree with his assessment about only having one bidder, but we bid it, or the board bid it, or it was, and if you only have one bidder, you're happy bodies in that regard.
Yep, that's true.
And frankly, if we look at it, if we go back and look at the history of them, it's very comparable to the others that you all, the board have had done. Depending upon the property. Now, one up in Abington wasn't quite that much, and the one in Limby was not quite that much, but they were very comparable to each other, those two. So, and he's 4.5 years into it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure. If I think back, the whole angst is the fact that he might have went into the treasurer's office and he said he was good, and then that confused him.
Well, it could be.
And that, so then this whole thing started. I don't think we should, I think we should just let it go.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like you said, the documentation was pretty extensive. And the letters that were sent out, including the certified mail, registered mail receipts and stuff are in the, so. Whether he remembers it, you know, whether a lot of folks don't keep that stuff, and I understand that. You can pile up all kinds of paper.
Sure.
You know, so, but it's there, and when the letters were sent out, it was cited in each letter what sections of the ordinance was in violation, and it lists under each one of those sections what those items would be, whether it was rags, weeds, cars, tires, whatever. So I think that there was plenty of definition as to what.
Yeah, Lee, I think we've done everything correct.
Yeah.
Like I said, we should let that go.
Well, I come into the show late, but looks like everything is the way it should be. And if we take no action, it'll continue like it was.
Well, Elizabeth, I think it was Elizabeth, anyway, the county attorney's office, it did go to court. The gentleman was fine. The gentleman had an attorney, so none of this is a surprise.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that Pat handled that because it was several years ago.
That's
It
right.
looked like the process was followed and he stipulated and so we're good there.
I agree, Susie, everybody else, I'll just move on down the road, pardon the pun.
I'm fine with that.
Brett called last week, he wants to table the burn ordinance, he's not here,
Okay,
so.
no problem. I did review it with him, but he's got some other concerns. That's fine.
He didn't indicate that he did, he just asked that it could be tabled.
Sure.
So I guess we don't set the date, right? One pop up this morning. So I'm going to let you explain this, Abby, to discuss and consider appointing Liberty Township trustees.
Essentially, there are 3 trustees that sit on in each township and a clerk, and the clerk does not have voting rights. So they have 2 vacancies and 1 trustee cannot appoint those people. So then by Iowa code, it goes to you guys to appoint.
Which that's included there if you want to review it.
So there's a couple of suggestions, but they can't, by law, they can't appoint them, you have to.
And these folks have agreed to serve. Okay. So I would entertain, we'll take one at a time, I would entertain a motion to appoint Eric Godwin to Liberty, as a Liberty Township trustee to fill the vacant 4-year term expiring December 31st, 2026. So he's got about a year, a little more than a year and a half left on this term.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to appoint Rodney Seifring to the Liberty Township as a Liberty Township trustee.
So moved.
Second,
Discussion. This term, by the way, is expiring on December 31st of 2028.
So that's true, but it will be on the 2026 ballot because we adopted.
Okay. Let's see. We had a motion, second. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, discuss and consider using opioid funds for community resource guide booklets.
So last week, when the opioid committee met, and Chris can talk about this as well, but they voted for us to go ahead and ask you guys if it was okay to spend a certain amount of money for the community booklets, which will I know when I did something like this in Indian Hills, you got a book. And that way, if somebody came up and somebody came in to Abby and said blah, 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 she can look in this booklet and tell them where they need to go for that help.
Yeah, we discussed it. Elizabeth was there, Joe was there. I'll come up at the table. So this is a resource guide that the hospital compiles with community partner input, and there's a designated employee that updates the resource guide annually. Now, we know once it goes to print, it's out of print. I mean, it's outdated because stuff changes so frequently. It is online. The resource guide is online, but we do know that there's a demographics of the population that still does not utilize online services, or they don't have access to online stuff. So it has anything from food resources to healthcare to mental health to anything that anyone could need within the community. So we discussed it a couple different times, but this time at the meeting, there was an official motion made to spend, we set a dollar amount, up to $1,000 in case there's a little bit of leeway there with the cost of the copies. We had a pamphlet or a resource guide, but we only had one from the hospital and I don't know what happened to it. We brought it over for you guys, but it's MIA right now. It's a really nice thick guide and it's color coded, it's, color print front and back. We do have it printed locally. The cost is like $4 per guide. So the opioid committee is asking for $1,000 to print basically whatever that'll cover. I think, what was it, Elizabeth? 200 copies is what we're gonna go
I think
with.
we're gonna go to up to $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Copies, and then we would dispense them at different locations, I think to be determined. We bounced a few around,
Yeah.
just like even at the jail, sometimes people who are leaving the jail need to know what resources are available for maybe continuing treatment or housing or whatever, or the Department of Corrections, and then we talked about having some at public health.
Public health, the chamber, the library here, the hospital would like a few, the ambulance, like if they have a non-transport. And they just need to know some community guides or community
Yeah.
resources. So that's what we're asking for is $1,000. That's the condensed version. We would like $1,000, please, and thank you.
Question,
Yes, sir.
where are you gonna store the booklets?
We can store them at the health department and then we can distribute them when people need them. We'll give some to the hospital as well. But we'll keep the ones for the county here and then we can, unless you guys want to keep them over here. I'm happy to
And
keep
lose them like the last one?
You said it, Joe, not me. But then anybody can get, and then maybe, we'll see how quickly they get shared or distributed. If there's a need, then the committee may come back and ask for another printing. I don't know. And I don't know what the timeline is or what the lead time is to have them printed. It'll take a little bit to get it printed. So that's, I'm sorry, I should have got another one, but
I think that's okay, Chris.
okay.
I think this is a tremendous asset to the community. Because if somebody would come in here and ask you where to find something, would y'all know? Not everything,
No.
Send them back.
and I,
No, and we don't know everything in the health department either, because like I said, things change, resources change, therapists leave, programs change. So it's nice to be able to just to hand somebody a booklet and say, here you go. And then they can, like I said, or you can direct them to the website, but like I said, not everybody uses online services. Plus, it's nice to have a guide in your hand, so then you can because if you're looking at it on your phone and you're trying to make a call, it's just, we still like paper.
So would we put some, say,
Yeah,
at the attorney's office?
yes,
Yeah.
we'll distribute them wherever they need to be distributed.
And the sheriff's office.
Here,
I think
wherever.
every department should have them.
Yeah. Unless you guys are feeling generous and want to give us more money up front. We're just asking for $1,000, but if you want to give us more, we can print more while we're doing it, is what I'm saying.
But then we also if it's updated too, it might be
Yeah, they
better
just
to
updated
do,
it, though.
yeah, they
They just-
did,
they
but it
just
might be
updated
better
it.
to do smaller printings. I don't know. I guess there's a cost savings benefit, so. it's up to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it's up to you guys.
Motion to approve 200 booklets
Or up to $1,000.
for up to $1,000.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't put the 200 booklets in there right now.
200 or up to 1,000, because we don't know exactly how much it's
Yeah,
gonna cost.
as I said, 200 booklets,
Okay,
up to 1,000.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay,
Just for clarification, up to $1,000, not
Yeah.
up to 1,000 booklets.
right.
Right,
Great.
Okay.
$200.
No, 200 booklets.
Sorry, $1,000, 200 booklets. Shall I restate that?
From the opioid settlement.
From the
dollars.
opioid settlement dollars.
Good, we're good. I'm sorry.
What happens when I come to this table?
I know, first off, I noticed the table starts to lift, but anyway, we have a motion and a second, I'm afraid to ask for any further discussion, but any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 And
Thank-
so
Thank you.
they will submit an invoice, right?
Yes, we're gonna have them printed locally and then we'll take care of that. I'll work with Deb and we'll get over to Frontline and we'll have them start on that and then they'll get us an invoice. So. And I'll let Bethany know because she wasn't on the Zoom the other day from the hospital because she's the point person from the hospital that was working with Deb on it. So thank you very much for your time and money. Elizabeth, thank you. Hey, it's good that you get some of this money expended and utilized in the community for good, so. Oh, do you guys want to update on Tall Cop right quick? Are we at public comment, Lee?
No, you've been up, yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll come back to the table. So I will tell you, we have 50 people signed up for the Tall Cop presentation on the 29th, April 29th, from 8 to noon. So I'm super excited about that. The CEU's continuing ed credits have been approved through Indian Hills for all levels of EMS, nursing, respiratory therapy, and social work. And then the community class is held that same evening, April 29th, from 6 to 7:30. There will be 2 sheriff's deputies at that location that night per Jermaine's request to have law enforcement there. And then nobody has to pre-register for that, so
Oh.
it's good. It's good. So we're excited about it.
Chris, you're gonna have people sign in as they do participate in the one high school.
We'll probably just take like a number of
Yeah, that's what I-
attendees,
yeah.
but like when they come to the class in the morning, they'll have to sign in for their continuing ed. And then you guys already approved to pay for the continuing ed certificates. Indian Hills processes those and they're $10 per certificate, which is really economical for all of us that have a license and need to get continuing ed. So thank you for that as well.
There's no charge for that, correct?
Correct. You guys paid for that with your approval with the opioid settlement dollars when last year when you voted to have him come and speak. And there's a little bit of money there for to pay for the room, refreshments like tea and coffee, and then we're gonna get muffins that morning. So yeah, so thank you. It's exciting. And in all of the shared Facebook posts and all the information, it says right on there that this program, education program, is made possible through opioid settlement dollars. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'll leave the table now.
Oh, don't worry.
Just got the chair warmed up.
I know. Sorry, Joe.
Committee reports. Oh, we're-
I have a SEMCO meeting this Wednesday, but today we already have received notice that it's a little windy and they're not gonna be open. I think that's the 10th or 11th time this year.
We've had a lot of wind.
Yes, including here.
Well, yeah, that's normal state of affairs, but
So,
yeah, we're actually a month behind. Because it's supposed to be, right, March winds bring April showers and bring May flowers, but we're getting them in this month. Does that mean we're not gonna get flowers till June?
Lee, we'll have to wait and see.
Okay. I planted a bunch of them. Well, I didn't. My granddaughter planted a bunch of them yesterday. I bought
Nice.
them.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Going on,
because I can't go to the landfill because it's closed, so I didn't have anything else to do.
anyway, moving on with committee reports.
Okay.
I've been working with Extension a lot. We've finally, and I might have said this last time, we weren't quite through, but we have picked the scholarship winners that will be announced, I believe, first week in May at the high school. If you haven't ever been to that scholarship presentation, it's a
I
pretty
have
cool
not.
deal. Basically, every year, there are $140,000 worth of scholarships handed out from this county to this county.
Sweet.
It's pretty kind of cool, you
Yeah.
know? At any rate,
Can I ask, just follow up on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Is that part of all of the other, what I mean is that I did attend a scholarship thing in the auditorium one year.
yeah,
It's all part of that?
yeah.
Okay.
Where they say, like, Abby goes up to present a scholarship and she talks a little bit about that and then
Yeah.
she says the names and the kids come up and get a certificate.
Right,
It's a
okay.
real cool deal. We have I've been part of helping a lot of different kids get scholarships over the years.
No, well, it does, and it helped us. Derek
Yeah.
got a $5,000 scholarship.
Oh, he got a big one.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
And
nice.
I can't remember who, they had to write an essay or something.
Yeah. I will say this year, there weren't as many kids apply for those scholarships, and I hope it's not a sign of the times,
Yeah,
because there were a lot of kids that didn't get one from the ones that I had been part of looking at. But anyway, it's a real cool deal.
well, yours are all handed out because they've already been named. or will be handed out.
They will be handled.
I just wondered if the money rolled back over to the next year. If it didn't.
No, some of the scholarships, let's say if this is B and this is C and A's over here, if you apply for the scholarships, some of them will let you apply a second time, even though you're not in high school. If you've won it when you're
Oh,
a
okay,
senior, you
right.
can apply for that again.
Well,
Just helps the kids.
I know I presented scholarships one year for, I think it was corn and soybean. And it was the year my daughter was a senior, so when I presented hers, I give her a hug. The next one in line was Greg Steele, and I tried to hug Greg. Of course, you know Greg. He pushed back real fast. It's a fun time.
Wasn't part of the equation. Huh?
I would add, if you ever want to be proud of your community, go to that and watch it.
Yes.
Because it's
It is.
very neat. The other thing is we had a solar ordinance meeting on Friday. And I thought that was a very good start.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed, the guy from Russ that was here.
Bruce.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Elizabeth.
Yeah, I just didn't want to mention their names.
Okay.
It's a start because I didn't know where we would start at or what.
Usually
So,
at the beginning. Of course, the age-old question is, if there's a beginning and an end, when did it begin?
Okay, back to the community reports. Since my nephew was here this weekend, he does that. I asked him if they had any solar fields. It was really kind of interesting to hear where their company has the solar
Okay.
fields. And I had to hear everything Bruce said was absolutely true because I heard it all again on Saturday. But if you have a good basis, it'll work out, is what I'm hearing. At any rate, the other thing is, Shannon and I finished the ARPA report with Darcy's help a little bit. Didn't take near as long this year.
Experience.
And a few other things,
Okay.
but, I'm glad it's over with. We actually received the notices to apply for it early this year, or earlier than we had last year. But, we're looking pretty good. We have to do it again next year, and then that'll be the last time. And if we don't spend it, we have to give it back. But I think we've obligated it. Now we just have to spend it.
That's.
And I know you're thinking about
Well, I'm gonna say that's a
Communication.
conversation we're likely
Yeah.
gonna have to
a
have.
little bit of communication.
Yeah.
The other thing is, CETA has been sending out surveys for the communities in our 10-county region.
Okay.
And basically, it's the same old thing, not for CETA. They're asking about jobs, the quality of jobs. Do people are you food insufficient? Or do you have good housing? And so it's the same thing that we hear over and over again from everybody. So they are, hopefully that survey, when it comes out, I'll be able to hand it out to you guys.
So how are they going to be, parents as teachers, how are they going to be affected by this transition? Do we know yet?
No, not yet. And they've been worried about it since January.
Yeah.
So,
Because they're part of the early childhood program
yeah,
and that's going away. So
yeah.
in its current,
Yeah, and that was one of the major questions. What do you do for daycare for 3-year-olds and under,
yeah.
6-year-olds and under? So they're well aware of what's going on, I think. Not how it's going to end up, but
Right.
what's,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure anybody knows.
Mhm.
And I'm not always convinced that we could spend an hour and a half on that. It just. You know what, it always seems like when it comes down to these things and you're only a few months away from the transition. But nobody knows what it's gonna look like. And anyway,
It's fun, Lee, it's fun,
yeah,
because it impacts us as well.
I think it probably impacts everybody in the room.
And the current services we provide with
Yeah.
child trainers consult, so it's a big deal.
I'm done.
Joe,
you're done?
Get Joe a hearing appointment, would you?
Okay, I attended the opioid meeting with Chris on Tuesday and was a good session. She's already talked about the tall cop coming in and,
I think this
about
is
the
her
booklets
meeting,
being
'cause they're showing
printed,
us.
so that's taken care of. I went to, we had the EMS meeting at the hospital on Thursday morning,
Emergency preparedness. Yeah.
emergency preparedness, okay.
Mhm.
And they're planning a tabletop in May if everything gets in place on that. So, which is, I'm impressed with what they're planning if there's a disaster and stuff. It's,
Is that the hazmat?
It is.
Okay.
Emergency support function 10. Brett is coordinating it with Homeland Security. So it's a hazmat
Yeah.
operation.
Was that May 8th? Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
is that the date? I'm looking at the calendar behind your head. Yeah, the second.
That's just what I remember.
Second Thursday, yeah, you guys should have got a flyer, a reminder for me and then the flyer from Brett last week.
Yeah, there's,
Yeah.
I hadn't opened it yet, but it's.
so.
Yep.
Had the solar ordinance work session on Friday. And that wraps it up for me.
What time, you know?
I think it's 9 to noon, I
Yeah,
think.
I think so too. You know, I have one other comment.
Sure.
I think we're still having an Easter egg hunt those funds haven't been rescinded. Saturday on Fairfield in the morning at Chautauqua. Easter egg hunt.
Extension.
Are you gonna dress up as an Easter bunny? Hop around out there?
I don't, it's not through extension, it's through the chamber.
Oh,
Or
okay.
Fairfield Commerce, yeah.
Okay.
But the Easter egg hunt,
You didn't answer my question.
nor am I going to.
Why not?
Why?
Oh, okay.
You'd look cute with it.
I don't have an answer for that one either, but. Moving on.
Thank you.
Okay. I had a Russ, meeting Wednesday and, pretty much straightforward. We talked a lot about. We talked a lot about, solar, actually, more than we did anything else. And in part because obviously one of our board members is the Louisa County Supervisor. And I know Bruce couldn't remember exactly what the acreage was in Muscatine, but in the discussion on Wednesday, it was 1,800 acres. But
For
it's,
Muscatine County?
yeah, but it's combined with that. In addition to the 3,200 that's in
Right,
Louisa
Right,
County.
right.
And I'm assuming, and I know what happens when you do that, but I'm assuming that some of the parcels are probably owned by the same people that in Muscatine County, because it's kind of like hopping the road, so to speak.
It is Easter off the road.
Yeah, that's true. And there's possibly another 2,000 acres under consideration, but they're saying right now that the CSR is probably too high. And then the other question was, I found curious, and I don't know, the only reason I found it curious was because we had a gentleman here from Mid-American and Mackenzie, I think was her name, was on Mid-American. And I didn't have this in front of me at the time, but apparently Mid-American may not be subject to decommissioning bonds. Now, I don't know if that's just because they're really big or what. They didn't go into a lot of detail on that, but I found it
Oh my God.
curious.
Yeah.
So, and I may have completely misunderstood
Mhm, mhm.
what it was in reference to, because most of our conversations centered around well, a conversation that I'd had with Shannon regarding how taxes are computed and that it does actually have a direct impact on our 2% allowable growth and all that other happy stuff, so. And then as you both indicated, we had the solar ordinance and I did attend the advisory meeting for the academy, the ambulance service academy. And, the people that were there here and then on Zoom, so to speak, were very much engaged in the process, including, because part of the board members are from um, Washington County, and in other words, other services, so, we did ask Abby and Darcy to be community members because we need community members that have no medical background, according to what the requirements for the certification, accreditation, whatever the case may be, so they're considering it. And that's about all of that on that, other than wanting to put on the agenda to have the board discuss and consider having an individual on that, so think about that. So another thing to point out is that on March 31st, we approved the claim from the legal expenses. The funds that were used were not property tax dollars. They were funds that we received approximately 5 years ago that we moved from year to year to year, using for unforeseen expenses or things like, for example, we used it here recently for, I believe that's what we took out of it, because there was a $2,200 expenditure for the training for, and the expenses, the cost of the training and stuff for HR. And we used funds from there here a while back. We approved purchase.
Are you talking COVID funds or care money?
Care money, yeah. And we used those funds for purchase office equipment for the ambulance service of, I don't know, whenever we first started to do that.
So when did that CARES Act start?
Hell, I don't know, I wasn't here.
March 27 of 20.
Yeah,
Had to be expended by 22, not obligated by
these were
22.
reimbursement funds.
Oh,
Okay.
So it's, can I just clarify, reimbursing taxpayer money that was paid to
Presumably so.
cover COVID?
Presumably so,
Okay.
I wasn't here, but they were unrestricted funds. Unencumbered, unrestricted.
yeah, I've just been reading about the CARES Act and I want us to make real sure we're doing it right. That's all.
And again, verified, because it's above my pay grade, that they were unrestricted.
Uh-huh. Like I said, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
because I
So,
don't want us to have to pay something back.
no, I get that. And that's why we, like I say, we bought the copy machine or these things for the ambulance service out of it. We paid for the other things over the years. It's never been, because it was one-time money, the board, very appropriately, in my opinion, previous board, never incorporated it into any ongoing expenditures, because when you use one-time money in order to start something or to do something, it ends up biting you in the butt. So,
Lee,
yes, dear.
yes.
Ma'am, sorry.
You're all right, you're all right. So the CARES money came to the county from hours that were worked by public health during the pandemic. The money came back to the county unencumbered, so the county was given the dollars to spend how they saw fit. The only dollars that were utilized for the health department was for the one-time stipend that we all received. So the rest of the hundreds of thousands of dollars were distributed to the county to use if they saw fit. That's where it came from, if it's CARES money. So
Right, it was a reimbursement to the
for our
county
hours, we
for
had to
your
submit,
hours.
we submitted our timesheets. Otherwise, the county wouldn't receive the money.
Right.
Just to clarify for those that are listening and for the public.
Chris, what time span was that? I mean, how many months to a year, 6
I
months?
have to pull, the payroll has all the timesheets. I
Mhm,
mean, it was a
mhm.
specific time that we were given to apply for reimbursement. It
Mhm.
wasn't just me, it was law enforcement or EMS. There were specific groups that could submit for
Mhm.
reimbursement. So it came back to the county unencumbered. Otherwise, the county wouldn't have those dollars. So I just wanted to clarify, because it's been a long time and then people get confused with CARES money and ARPA money. It's
Yeah,
two separate
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Oh, I'm
So,
sorry.
thanks, Lee. That's, I just wanted to clarify that.
Public comments.
I have some. A few weeks ago, the board voted to pay Sheriff Richmond's legal fees. And I believe the motion was after the 1st of July in next fiscal year. On the 27th of March, Sheriff Richmond sent us a note saying this is what he had to pay for interest daily, and would we consider paying it now? Essentially was. So then fast forward to last week, and I found out that without no hearing, no agenda, nothing to vote on, we did take it out of this year, so I've already paid him. I'm not sure, when we put something on the agenda and pass it is when is a more legal thing to do. I think we need to be better than this. We are better people than this. We have to do things the right way because it gives the appearance of impropriety, and this is nothing against the sheriff at all. I'm done.
Okay. I don't disagree with you in context. The request to move it to July 1st was made by me because I figured I was the one that was gonna have to try and figure out where it came from, and that's no disrespect to anybody. It was just my thought process.
Yeah, and that's what we voted on.
Right. And so then with able to figure out or sitting down, going through the budget, we figured out that it was not going to impact this fiscal year's budget or next fiscal year's budget. We still would have all of our reductions in the levy rates would continue. Everything was going to be fully funded. And as you indicated, yes, there was the question of the ongoing interest expense. So it was on March 31st agenda, it was in the bills, the claim was submitted, and the claim was reviewed, as well as this sheet.
But Lee, when was it on the agenda for the public to hear in an open meeting?
I agree.
And for us
I'm
to
not
vote on?
disagreeing with you.
We can't have that happen anymore.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just that, go ahead.
But when we found out it's gonna cost him $6 a day, I thought we should get it paid. It's just adding money to it is what it is. If we wait till July 1st, it's gonna be another $6 a
And
day. that
Joe,
we're gonna
I
pay.
wasn't disputing that at all. I'm disputing for the fact you did not have a vote in an open meeting, nor was this on an agenda. There is appearance of impropriety. So you knew about this too. Is that correct?
Just like you did, yeah.
Okay. Like today, you just found out about it?
No, it was in the claims.
When did we vote on it, Joe? When did we give Abby to put it on the agenda for us to vote?
She did.
We did
I know.
not. Okay,
I know that. I just want him
Right.
to know it's not proper.
and nobody's disagreeing with you.
And this can't happen again.
All right, so it's time to move on from all of it. Is this a done deal?
I hope
We
it
shouldn't
is.
have had to have done this to begin with. I don't want to rehash this.
Oh, I wasn't. I just was wanting
No,
to
I
talk.
know you're not, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just simply saying that we need to put this behind us. We have got so much crap on our plate right now from things that have happened over the last several years that it's just getting, frankly, from my perspective, pretty tiresome.
You know, I absolutely agree with that, but I'm still stuck on this.
That's
Just
fine,
don't do it
and you
again.
have every right to be, and I don't disagree with you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm not done yet.
Okay,
Moving on.
okay. Interesting, we've come to the point where it's allowed claims and approved reports.
Huh.
In the amount of $119,183 and no cents. 0 cents.
I would say, Abby, thank you to Darcy for getting these to us on time so we can look over them. Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Joe initial on the front. Should I initial on the front or should I?
I initialed on the front too, did I not?
Yes, you did. I apologize.
Well, thank you very much.
So I will initial on the front.
any place on the 3 sheets appropriate, right, Abby?
Who the hell knows? I don't know that I've ever seen that in writing.
Cuss jar, we need a cuss jar again.
You're right.
Not for
And
you,
it's still sitting in there full of money.
for the record,
Yeah.
not full. We need to
Well,
fill it
okay.
up. Lee,
So more cussing?
there you
That's
go.
in my department.
We've got Chris here. That'll take care of most of it.
Well, most of it is probably
From her.
Chris's money
It
that
is.
she's paid on my behalf.
You know, on Chris's behalf, she put a lot more money in there than she needed to, just to make up for other folks.
For me, go ahead and say it.
Well, not just you.
You gotta have a little bit of fun, life's too short.
We got a tall cop and now life is too short. What is it about?
Have you ever seen a tall gnome miscarriage?
Have not.
I just
Can I give
wondered,
you guys, I'm sorry, I forgot to say this during public comment. Can I talk about measles right quick?
Oh, yeah.
Is it okay if I give a public comment on that?
you got measles?
No, I don't have measles. So it's in 22 states right now. Measles are in 22 states. The closest states would be to Iowa, would be Kansas and Ohio. There's
Oh, really?
currently no cases in Iowa, at least as of right this moment in time. We have had a couple of different Zoom meetings to discuss measles and that mitigation, and we had a local partner meeting as well. So I just wanted to give you guys an update. As soon as I hear something, I'll let everybody that needs to know. There'll be an official press release, but so far, so good in Iowa. While I was here, I just wanted to give you that update. I'm sorry, I forgot about it when I was over there talking.
So good, we'll go skating. Okay.
We get phone calls all the time. So. Anyway,
How many fatalities are there nationwide now?
I think there's 3. And when a couple weeks ago, I was at the legislative forum, Joe was there, and it was, I presented that information to the state elected officials, so.
So is the vaccine running out?
No, people are choosing to not get vaccinated.
Oh,
The people that have died have been unvaccinated individuals, so.
honestly-
Unfortunately, they've been pediatrics.
I
individuals.
honestly don't know if I've ever been vaccinated or not, but I have the measles.
Well, then you're considered immune from the disease, so I think it's 1957. Anybody born before 1957 is considered to have natural immunity because chances are you've had the measles. I was born in 63 and the vaccine became available in 63.
Oh, that's why.
So that's, yeah.
You know, a little interesting sidebar about being born. My granddaughter,
Chair war.
we were at the races Saturday night at Eldon, and I'm sitting next to my granddaughter, and she goes, "You want to hear something ugly?" And I go, "What?" She goes, "My 10th high school reunion is coming up." I go, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah." She felt really bad about that, and I said, "Well, look at the bright side. My 55th is coming up." She goes, "You're old." And I said, "No," and since we don't have a cuss jar here, I'll let the rest of that slide.
Abby can keep track of how much you owe.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everybody.